Hello, I'm Chip Stites, and welcome again to the Laughing Retirement. Today, we are going to have a subject that is pleasant, happy, and it's how to move to Italy. Now, moving to Italy is a little bit different than moving to other places because it requires a little bit of planning. And also, in the planning, you learn a great deal about Italy itself. And so, we're going to take a look at this, how to move to Italy, what you need to do. We're actually going to show you a 2-year calendar, the same type of calendar that we used. That it's not going to be on a calendar, but I'm going to give you the actual months and dates that we used, so you can see what it takes to move to Italy. So, without further ado, let's get started here. There we go. Now, the things you need to consider to move to Italy. The biggest mistake that people make when they move to Italy is that they bring all of their American thoughts and habits with them, because things don't always work the same way here that they work in America. So, normal in one place may not be normal in another, regardless of where you move. For instance, in the US, we can move at the drop of the hat. Our system is designed to make us mobile. Well, if we need to move, we go to the MLS in the new city and we look at homes, we check with our bank, often the same bank from one city to another. We go to our new city, we may rent a house for a period of time, we look for a new one, we buy the new one, and easy peasy, we move in. Italy, it's different because Italians don't move the same way that we move. And so the system is not designed for easy and quick movement. There's no MLS from one city to another. Real estate agents don't represent you. They represent themselves and the agency they work for. Mortgages are looked at very differently here because mortgages, when a bank makes a mortgage, the bank is responsible for the mortgage. It's not insured by 17 different companies that reinsure and reinsure and reinsure. It's not the same way. That bank is responsible for earning that money. So they look at it differently and they're more careful with it. A down payment for a foreigner is likely to be 40 to 60%. But I'm talking about the additional fees and everything else. You're liable to have to put in 40 to 60% of the purchase price as part of the down payment. So fees, costs, and the inability to reclaim and sell the home make a difference in how much banks are willing to lend. The best and simplest way is obviously cash. So what does this mean to you? Well, you need to find a place to live before you move. Having a residence with a contract is a requirement of the visa. It's not exactly a requirement of citizenship, but when you get here, you're better off having a place to live in advance, and we'll talk about that. In Italy, when you move somewhere, your connection is more than just to a home. It is also to a neighborhood and to your community. And so it's likely that you should be pretty comfortable with where you want to move, which is why we started renting, and we still rent. Don't expect to arrive, look for a home, find a home, and move in. It's just not likely to happen that way. And it's a whole lot easier to get a rental first. For many people, our date of retirement is etched in stone. You work until you retire and you become a retiree. That's it. If you want to move to Italy, I would recommend you start the process 2 to 3 years before your retirement date. And because of the number of people that are trying to move to Italy, the visa meeting, and that's a requirement. You have to go to the consulate and they have to meet you. We just went to the consulate and had our interview. We didn't have our visa book done at that time. So we didn't apply. We didn't apply to our visa for another 3 months after we had our meeting. But going there, going to your consulate, and having the meeting checks a box that you need to check off. So plan your trips to Italy by doing research first. We spent almost a year in research, and you need to ask yourself some questions. What kind of climate do you want to live in? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? Do you want to have an urban lifestyle? Do you want a suburban? Or do you want a rural lifestyle? We chose rural. Are you looking for an expat community or no expat community? Now, we didn't want an expat community. We moved to a place that did not have an expat community on purpose. But if you want an expat community, Google expat communities in Italy, and you will find a number of organizations. There's expats in Umbria, expats in Lazio. There are expat groups all over Italy that are relatively easy to find. What activities do you like to do? That you can carry over to Italy? Hiking, it comes to mind. Bicycling comes to mind. In many places, horseback riding. There are all kinds of things that you can do in the U.S. that you can do here in Italy. Hunting is one of them. Fishing is another one. As a matter of fact, the water is so clean that right through the middle of our city of Rieti, you can fish. It's catch and release. You can sometimes look down and see the fish. Look for homes in the areas that you're interested in online. And you can see here, I've given you 3 different real estate companies: immobiliare.it, gateway.com, and idealista.com. Always ask for an English-speaking agent because the process is different. Go to visit the place you are interested in moving, that your research has shown you, in a time when you think you're least likely to like it. For instance, if you like winter and you want a ski mountain, don't go during the winter. You're going to like it. Go during the summer. If you don't like heat and you're looking at being on the shore, you might want to go in the summer. If you don't like tourists, you might want to go to a place that's going to have a ton of tourists to see what it's like if you're interested in living in a tourist area. So there's so much that you need to do, and I would say that if you can localize down to 2 or 3 different cities or towns or provinces, I would suggest that you spend 2 to 3 weeks in each one, and then when you find the one you want, that you spend enough time there at a time when you don't think you'll like it to see how you will feel. When you're looking at real estate, make sure you ask for an English-speaking agent because it's not the same here. Agents compete against each other. They don't work with each other. So that you need to know as well. Now we're going to create a 1, 2, or 3. We're going to create a 2-year calendar here. A visa or citizenship effort can take at least 1 to 3 years, depending upon where you live and your assigned Italian consulate. Now, if you're looking for citizenship and you have all your paperwork done, I can show you. I can send you to a lawyer that can help you. We had a friend who actually moved here and applied in the area that he was moving into, and got his citizenship 2 years later. But he lived here the whole time because he had his paperwork done. Learn Italian. If you're moving to Italy, regardless of what you do, even if you want an expat area, start working on your Italian. I can't think of anything that we did particularly wrong outside of not knowing enough Italian. That makes things difficult. Ask questions. Always ask questions. Italians are very helpful. Learn the phrases that you will need. I am looking to rent an apartment. Well, where would you go for that? One of the best places to go is houses for sale, believe it or not, because you can call the owner or the real estate agent and say, would you find out for me if they're willing to rent? That's how we found one. Originally, in the house we're in right now, They said they didn't want to rent. 6 months later, they called us and said, "Are you still interested?" We said, "Sure, yeah." We took 1 3-week trip and we traveled throughout Italy. I had been to Spain. I had been to Portugal. My wife had lived in France. And so we were able to make decisions on where we wanted to live based on past experience and based on the fact that we took a 3-week trip throughout Italy and we found the place we wanted to live in. Then we had to find a place to rent. We had to have a rental contract to apply for our visa. And basically, the gathering of the information and the putting together our book took almost a year. We had our meeting in LA. We got our plane tickets, our round trip plane tickets. We got the contract for the rental house. You also have to get your tax number before that. We created our visa book with financial information, personal information, letters. And we mailed it to the consulate with a round trip, with a return envelope, because they're going to return to you your airline tickets, your passport with a visa in it, hopefully, and whatever else. They're going to keep everything else. So you want your passport and you want your plane tickets and your marriage certificate and your birth certificate returned to you. So there you have it. Now, all you have to do is execute. You make your list. You check that list twice. You choose the day you want to move to Italy first. In our case, it was October 4th, and work backwards from there. The consulate has 3 months in which to return your visa application. They returned ours in 2 months and 3 weeks. It took me 3 or 4 months to gather all the information that I needed to gather, have everything translated into Italian. We had everything translated into Italian. So we had Italian first, then English on every piece of information that they wanted. The hardest part for us was finding a place to live and getting that contract. And that needs to be accomplished on your trips. When you make a trip, meet real estate agents, meet as many people as you can, ask questions. That's why I say that learning Italian is so important. Your online research can save you a great deal of time and money. I've had people ask me, "Well, Chip, where should I move?" Well, I don't have a clue where somebody should move because I don't know what climate they like. I don't know what they're interested in. I don't know what's important to them. I don't know how they live. But you should be able to narrow your choices down without even traveling to between 2 and 3 places that you're interested in looking at. And don't forget the 7% tax areas, because that can save you a lot of money in tax. Because remember, tax here is paid or assessed by residency. In the United States, it's citizenship, but most countries tax by residency. So if you're in Italy more than 183 days a year, you have to pay Italian taxes. But with the tax treaty, those taxes are subtracted from U.S. taxes. So you're not going to pay twice. Then you should be able to pick 1 or 2 main cities that you're interested in and go visit those cities and make the choices you want to make. If you want to move to an expat area, communicate with a couple expats so that you can meet them when you get here. Another consideration on your move is, regardless of the country you move to, should be the state you move from. Why is that? Because your state of residence will follow you for tax reasons. If you move from California, California state taxes are going to follow you, even if you move permanently to another country. If you move out of California, we lived in a very high tax state, New Mexico. We moved out of New Mexico. I moved my business to Las Vegas, no tax, and we bought a house in Montana, low tax, but the rental of that house and the depreciation basically pays our Montana taxes. So it wasn't a problem. But remember, U.S. taxes by citizenship, so it will follow you no matter where you go. Florida, Texas, Washington State, and 11 different states do not charge personal income tax. So you may want to move and establish new residency before you come to Italy. And I know 2 or 3 people that have done that. One purpose was for tax. Another purpose was to get a consulate that didn't have so many people going through it so that they could move faster. So there you go. There's an overlay of state taxes, Italian taxes. Oh, and have a U.S. phone. If you're going to leave your, which I suggest you do, if you're going to leave your investments in the United States, you need to have a permanent address and you need to have a U.S. phone. I find that makes things a lot easier. So there you go. Having a U.S. phone number is helpful. You can get along without one, but it's much harder, and it's not expensive. I think I pay $24.95 a month for my U.S. phone, and it's here, and I only use it for proof of that I have a U.S. phone and for proof of identity. And so next one down, example of a 2-year calendar. Year 1 was research with a trip. So January to May, we researched. What kind of climate did we want? What kind of lifestyle did we want? Did we want an expat community or no? Did we want shore or mountains or plains? We chose mountains. June through August, we made our trip plans, we bought tickets, we took the trip. And then in September and October, and that was year 1. In year 2, we bought our plane tickets for October 4th, I think. And then we had to create the 3-month window for the consulate. So if we're moving in October, is the actual move, then I wanted to give myself some extra time. So our consulate has 3 months. So we gave them June, July, and August. So we sent our book in late May. They returned it in August. So we had a month cushion there between when we got back our visa and plane tickets and when we were actually leaving. So that is what our 2-year calendar looked like. It took me 3 months to gather all the information. It took me roughly January to April. I put the book together in May, and we sent it off in June. And so there you go. We had our consulate visit in February, and we turned in our book, our visa book, in June, early June. So for us, we did not have to have a consulate meeting with our visa book. We went to have our meeting and checked that box before I even started putting the book together. So there you have it. The result is this. Moving to Italy takes time and planning, more so than some other countries. You want to know what your tax situation is. You want to know what your visa or citizenship is. You want to know where you're moving before you come. If you do your homework and work on the language, the benefits are absolutely gigantic. And in Italy, there's a saying, well, you can't do that here, but I know a guy. And we laugh about it all the time. Getting things done in Italy can be frustrating, but the rewards are huge. And people are very, very willing to help. It's one of the things I like most about Italy is the Italians are absolutely wonderful with how they want to help you and how they are interested in you and interested in where you come from and interested in showing you their life. And the ease of travel and the low stress of the lifestyle and the healthy food are well worth it. Now, we are going to, if you'd like some more information, there's down at the bottom there is my Calendly calendar that will help you spend 15, 20 minutes with me, and I'll be happy to give you that for free. But September and October of 2025, we will be holding an in-depth Move to Italy camp here in Rieti. We're going to have real estate people. We're going to have bankers. We are going to have a lawyer to help with visas. We're going to have all kinds of information available to you. We're going to go out and eat. We're going to show you this local area. And everybody who came the first time was able to go out and travel into areas that they were interested in when they were done. It was an absolutely wonderful time and people loved it. So if you're interested in that, please send me an email at info@thelaughingretirement, and just in the subject line, put info and then your name and address. And I will send you back an email that says, yes, I got your info. As soon as we have dates and times and costs, we're going to send it to you, along with what you're going to be doing. I think you'll have a wonderful time this year, just like everybody who came did last year. So this is Chip Stites, and this is The Laughing Retirement. And if you're interested in moving to Italy and creating a new life, this is how you do it. And I heartily suggest that you spend the time to learn the language, spend the time to research what you want. Retirement's 20, 30 years, and that's important. And we've been here now we're in our 8th year, and we're absolutely loving it. So thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you, whether it's just a 20-minute chat to ask some questions. Don't forget our financial videos. Don't forget our Move to Italy videos. And maybe we'll see you this September, October for our Learn to Move to Italy camp. I'm Chip Stites, and this is The Laughing Retirement. Thank you. Bye-bye.